I want to introduce you today to my little friend, my kitchen egg timer. Even though I like to use fancy apps and tools and systems to try to get more done, I have found myself again and again and again turning back to this simple timer to keep myself on task and make sure the most important stuff gets done. And in this video, I want to show you how I use this little egg timer to get more done throughout my day and how maybe you can use one too. You might think I'm going to talk about something called the Pomodoro Technique, which talks about doing 25 minutes of work with a 5-minute break and all that. But I think it's a lot simpler than that. If I want to do a task that's going to take an hour or so, I put a timer on for 1 hour, and then I set this on my desk, and I work until the timer is done. And there's something about the fact that it's a physical timer and the fact that it's sitting there and I can hear it ticking that makes it real to me that doesn't seem to work when I do it with my phone or with a computer timer. I don't have the potential for distraction from my phone or computer. I can just sit there with my journal and work on the thing I need to work on without anything. So there's this thing called the Eisenhower Matrix that talks about how some tasks are urgent or they're important or different combinations of each. The problem is most of us live under the tyranny of the urgent. We just put out fires. We do whatever the next thing is that we need to get done. And what happens when we do this is all those important things like our priority goals or those projects we say are actually important, those get kicked down the road further and further and further. But by using a timer, it allows you to make the important things urgent. Have you ever noticed when you're up against a deadline, you can focus really well? Suddenly, you're not hopping on YouTube or checking your texts. You just have to get that thing done because the deadline is looming. When you use a timer like this, you are creating a false deadline that gives you that level of focus. It allows you to really zero in and say, I have to do this in 30 minutes or it's not going to get done. So how do I actually use this in practice? Well, I find it's really helpful to pair your little egg timer with a set schedule. So I have an ideal weekly schedule for myself. I remake this every quarter. And in this ideal weekly schedule, I've set up 3 main blocks of time. I have my writing block, my deep work block, and my admin block. And I define a successful day for me is if I do all 3 of those time blocks. I've decided on each of these blocks of time very strategically. These things I know if they get done, they will move the needle on my life and my work and what I need to accomplish. Whether it's books or videos or articles, everything starts with writing. And so I know that if I put in an hour or 90 minutes of writing each day, I will make progress on those things that are most important. Same thing with my deep work block. That's when I work on my priority project for the day. If I do that, the important stuff will get done. And with admin, I know that I will answer emails and get back to people and do the necessary things if I just set aside an hour a day to do that stuff. And that only counts for about half of my day. And so I let the urgent stuff fill in the margins instead of how we normally work where we allow the urgent stuff to dominate our day and then we try to squeeze in the priority stuff. But to enable me to focus during these times, I turn to my trusty egg timer. The other thing that's helpful about using a timer is not just that it compresses you and forces you to get a certain amount of work done in a certain amount of time, but the limit is helpful too, I found. Like for me, I can dig into a project and obsess about it and spend way too much time on it. And that's not good either because it means other things are getting neglected. Having a timer means I need to work really, really hard and really, really focused because when this timer ends, I'm done with that thing for the day. So even with all the fancy apps and software and systems that are available to me for productivity, I still have found that my trusty little egg timer is the most used tool in my arsenal to help me get more done for the glory of God each day. So you can find one of these on Amazon for less than 20 bucks. And if you want more help with creating one of those ideal schedules like I talked about, I have a whole course on it and a Google Sheet you can use. There's a link to that in the description. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.